What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boys over here at Three Man Weave. I'm your co-host CJ. Here with my lovely co-host ZD on this
Yes, Sirski.
beautiful Wednesday, March 25th evening. You know, we have a lot on our docket. I believe we have a full slate of NBA games that we're gonna talk about. You know, we have a
Yes,
Thunder and Laker analysis, of course.
you.
And then, the main part of this episode, we have our second team All NBA list. And then we have Victor Wembanyama, trying to plead his case for the MVP award. And then we're going to round it off with some March Madness as well, man. So I'm excited to get into all this stuff with you and ZD. You know, obviously, college basketball, March Madness is such a huge part of the game and upsets and, Cinderella type stories. So
Oh
I'm
man,
excited to talk to you about that. And obviously, some players that have been, balling out in the tournament as well. But I'm excited to talk to you tonight about all this stuff. But how are you doing tonight, ZD?
I'm good, brother. Checking in, man. LA lost. Temperature check. Dennis Jenkins hitting that step back. Put our win streak to rest, and then been trying to watch March Madness here and there, bro. I'm feeling pretty good. We got the playoffs right around the corner. Obviously, we're gonna get into our second team All NBA, which will be interesting. I got a interesting guy on this list. You guys might roast me whenever we get to that point, but it is what it is. I got to back up my guy there, and yeah, man, just feeling good, bro. Basketball is good. This is like, if you're a hoop head, this is like the pristine time right now.
Best time of year.
March.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. These next couple months, obviously going into the finals in June, it's just perfect time for good basketball. And what a better way to end my Wednesday. Just chopping it up on Three Man Weave, baby. We back at it again. But CJ, how you feeling, bro? How you feeling about where the Thunder are, and how you doing?
I'm feeling great, bro. You know, we were able to catch a dub last time. You know, I think it was against the Sixers. VJ balled out.
McCain,
McCain, did his thing, his return.
there you go.
But yeah, no, feeling good. J Dub's return. Excited to see what he ends up looking like. Obviously, been in and out the lineup, but man, I'm doing great. Like we said, March Madness. Whenever March on to the end of the NBA season is best time. Watch basketball, super competitive. This is when the people, 10 more games left in the season. We're excited to see where all
Yep.
the teams are gonna line up at, and man, it's incredible, man. Like you said, this is, as a hoop head, this is probably the best time of year for all of us. And then, I'm a Carolina fan as well. We just ended up firing Hubert Davis, so now trying to figure out who our head coach for the North Carolina Tar Heels is gonna be. It's gonna be interesting, but I'm excited, bro. I'm doing good, man. It's like you said, anytime we're able to chop it up about some hoops, it's always a good night. And wrapping up the end of the night, I think Sweet 16 starts tomorrow, so that'll give us something to watch. Heading into the weekend, and obviously these last 10, 11 games of the season are always great to watch. So, like you said, man, best time of year, and I'm just ready for the playoffs, ready
There you
for
go.
Elite Eight, Final Four, see all the good matchups, and excited, bro. Thunder have been hooping,
Yeah.
can't complain. We're going against the Celtics tonight, so we'll watch that one whenever we get off the pod. But yeah, it's a good time to be a hoop head for sure.
There you go, man. And yeah, let's just get right into it, man. I think we had a little bit of drama the other day with Victor Wembanyama. A rhyming accidentally, right? Drama with Wembanyama. Wemby
Mm.
pleads his case for MVP. Victor Wembanyama told reporters after San Antonio's 136-111 win over Miami on March 24th that he is aiming to leave no doubt in the race for NBA MVP. CJ, I want to ask you a question, man. Like, how do you feel about Wemby's comments and his arrogance this season, man? Just in general, like I
Yeah.
think we'll get into to his case and what exactly he said in a second, but just the fact that he wants to leave no doubt. How are you feeling about that right now?
It's it's interesting because we like to see confident players. We like to see you, feel a certain type of way about how you're performing. And yes, y'all are doing great. I just think you're so young into your career. Y'all are so young as a team. You still have a lot to prove. And I think it kind of is giving me, it's giving me like resemblance of how that like Memphis Grizzlies team was whenever they were on the come up, saying that they're fine in the West, type of attitude. And up until you do something in the playoffs, that's kind of how I'm basing that, how y'all are or how Wemby's acting specifically, and not taking away anything from him. He's a great player. We know this. We're gonna talk about his case and why he believes he should be the MVP. But I don't know. It's like you said. It's very
Okay.
Maybe because we're not
Yeah.
Spurs fan, we feel like this, but like it's just you just have a lot to prove to us, you know. So that's kind of how I feel. Great player, you know. He definitely has a case for the MVP. I just think
No,
you
I
know
got you.
the people above him just are performing better right now. Have a better case, in my opinion.
And bro, let's be real. Okay, Wemby or SGA,
SGA for sure.
Luca or Wemby,
Luca.
Jokic or Wemby.
Yeah, that's that Jokic for sure, but like Wemby is in the mix. I would say so, but I would still put Jokic over him personally. So I would say Wemby's four, maybe even five. JB, I feel like JB might have a better case just because of the situation, you know.
Oh, we'll get into that.
Yeah,
I
we'll get
think
into that. Yeah,
we're gonna clip that for the shorts, but I think people are, I think Wembenyama stands are gonna come out of the woodworks on you on that one. So
for
the
sure.
22-year-old center who helped the Spurs clinch their first Southwest Division title in 9 seasons by winning for the 22nd time in 24 games, by the way. He's averaging 24.3 points, 11.2 rebounds, and 3 assists and 3 blocks this season. Only 6 players. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he did it for 5 seasons. Hakeem did it twice. Shaq, Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, and Wembenyama himself have reached those benchmarks, highlighting his historic two-way production. Wemby acknowledged that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Luka Doncic are considered the frontrunners, but argued that his defensive impact is undervalued and that the Spurs nearly swept the Thunder head-to-head. So you got to, hey, bro, how do you feel about that? I mean, they did sweep them. I'm going to be real, though. I got to see it in the playoffs. I saw that comment about his defensive impact. He basically said that defense is 50% of the game. That's true. Fundamentally, that is true. So I'll give him that, right?
Yeah, it's true.
But Shai and Luka, like they average a couple. They're not like horrible defenders. And Shai is a plus defender.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Shai could make an All NBA defensive team just like Wemby.
Mm-hmm.
So that was an interesting talking point. How do you feel about that?
The whole thing about him beating us, I think it's been something we've been dealing with all year. We've had injuries, so like y'all didn't beat us healthy. I'll say that to start off. Y'all did beat us. 4 or 3 times? I think we played them 5 times. They might have beat us 4 times, whatever it is. They almost swept us, but
4-1, yeah.
4-1, but it is what it is, bro. I just, like you said, I got to see it in the playoffs. We seen teams beat teams in the regular season, go against them in the playoffs, and still lose. So I'll just leave it off with that. To kind of, you know.
No, and I like that. And I like that. Coach Mitch Johnson said that Wemby impacts the game in all types of different facets, all types of different ways, offensively and defensively, of course, just in ways that he's never seen. With San Antonio sitting at 54-18 and likely to secure a top 2 seed, Wembenyama said his goal is to eliminate any debate about the award by the end of the season. I think he's having a hell of a year, bro. I do want to give credit where credit is due. Spoiler alert, he'll probably be on our, top 5 players in the NBA, right? For that first team all NBA list.
For sure.
But for me, I think the arrogance has gone a little far to not have won a championship. And I think you kind of earn that right as you play deeper and deeper into your career. The reason that Luka Doncic can kind of talk to anyone is just because what he's done in the playoffs. The fact that he dragged the Mavericks by himself essentially to an NBA Finals appearance. Players around the league respect him and know, regardless if he's won an MVP or not, they know that he is actually somebody that's dangerous. And he's been playing that way for almost a decade now. Mm-hmm. Wemby, we haven't brought this up, but his health, bro. Yeah. Like that's the biggest question mark for me. I think Wembenyama, unfortunately, for people who don't know, if you're 7'4" or above, you're just at risk for so many different health things, bro. Kristaps Porzingis, Yao Ming, like the list goes on and on. But if you're 7'4" and above, you're going to have a lot of issues. So I would be cautious with that in terms of Wembenyama's case for the MVP, especially if he doesn't win this season. That's one thing, but in the future, right? I think it's gonna make for an interesting talking point. So it is interesting that he wants to put this conversation to bed before the season is over. We will have to see if he's able to do that. Wemby has averaged 22.5 points, 11.3 rebounds, and 3.5 assists across the 11 games during the last month. While those figures are slightly lower than his season averages, they clearly still demonstrate the all-around production. Obviously, the Spurs have won their last 22 games out of 24. They continue to surge up the standings, bro. And the Spurs, over their last 15 games, ranked 3rd in the NBA net rating with a plus 11.3, and they've gone 13-2 over that span. Does Wemby have a real MVP case, CJ? All bias aside.
All bias aside, yes, I do think he does. I just think the players that are above him have a better case, in my opinion. Obviously, him being, leading the Spurs to second in the West, he has a great part to do with that on the defensive side and obviously on the offensive side as well. But I just think it's he's still young. He could still get this in the following years, and obviously the main thing is the health. I mean, I think he's going to hit the game requirements. I don't think that's the issue, but it's can you play that on a consistent year in year out basis, and that's something that we
Right.
haven't really seen. But yes, I agree. He's been, like you said, spoiler. He's gonna probably be on both of our first team All NBAs as he deserves. But I just think the people above him have a better case for it, and that's something. That's how the league has always been. Because the year that Shea got second, Jokic just had a better year. Yes, the standings, Shea was number one in the West, this and that. Jokic was just having a better year, and I think that's the circumstances we're in at this point of our timeline in the NBA. There's just players that are performing better. Their team may not be as better, but Luka's case, they've kind of turned their season around. Now they're third in the West. So I think yes, I do, but I just don't think it's his year to win it. He's young. He still has opportunities to
I agree.
prove me wrong year in and year out, which I think he will eventually. It's just is he going to play the games required, and are the Spurs going to consistently be good up until he gets to that point? But yeah, of course, I think for me to say that he isn't would be me being ignorant, and all bias aside, I'm not a Spurs fan. I like Wemby as a player, but based off of what we just said about how he's been acting, of course I feel a certain type of way, but all that can sway us to the other side if he just proves me wrong and wins in the playoffs, so
I agree.
we'll see what that looks like. But yeah, of course I think he's in the conversation. I don't think it's going to be, he's not going to be the runaway candidate, because obviously there's been players doing the same amount of production on winning teams as well. So it's a conversation, but I don't think he's going to win it this year.
Yeah, and I think that's a perfect transition into our second team All NBA, brother. I think obviously Wembanyama is going to make the first team. People who don't have him on their first team are absolutely ludicrous.
Yep.
That's blasphemy, as Stephen A. likes to say.
Yeah.
There you go, man. But I think we went from 15 to 11. We're starting on 10 today. We're working our way down to 6. So I'm going to start it off. This one is a hot take. At the number 10 spot, man, we got Devin Booker for me, man. Devin Booker will make an All-NBA team this season, not because of his stats, but because of his contributions to winning. The Suns were expected to be a lottery team before the season started. Fast forward to March 25th, which is today, and D-Book is averaging 25 points a night on 47% shooting. The Suns have also eclipsed the 40-win mark. They're 40-33, and they're already 7th in the West. They've already surpassed their win total from last year. We have to take into consideration where the Suns were compared to prior to the season compared to where they are now. I feel like Devin Booker isn't going to get the love this season that he probably deserves. And there's going to be guys that say, oh, the Pistons deserve to, the Thunder deserve to. I agree. I just think that those Robin players to the Batman guys aren't necessarily doing enough to be on an All-NBA team just yet. I got to see more from Duren. I got to see more from Chet. I do think those guys have taken a leap. But in my opinion, bro, Devin Booker's been a seasoned veteran. He's been consistently making All-NBA his entire career. And to me, he's had a great season. And he's also contributing to winning on a team that, you know what, if we're being honest, has no business being the 7th seed right now. Their defense is what's really got them here. So I did want to give credit to D-Book just locking down a little bit more this season, and the defensive metrics are a little bit better. So yeah, man, that's my first guy on the second team. It might be a hot take. I think for people who don't know, he is deserving of this award just simply based off of the fact of his team's success this season. And prior to the year and all the preseason projections, bro, they've completely blown those out of the water. I think the Pistons are actually going to finish a couple games over, right? So FanDuel knew that Detroit was going to be good. FanDuel knew Oklahoma City was going to be good. So I don't think they knew that the Suns were going to be good.
No, yeah, I agree, bro. I mean, I had him on my third team, so I agree with you, everything you said. But my last guy that made my spot for this second team All NBA was Jalen Brunson. You know, the captain of the New York
Oh,
Knicks. I believe he deserves to be in this spot. You know, he's been averaging 26, 6.6 assists. Obviously, assists a little down from last year, but it's just what he's been able to be for the Knicks. Been the consistent, player. We know what we're gonna get from Jalen Brunson. He was Mr. Clutch. 2 years ago, what he's been able to do. He's been the offensive hub for this team, regardless of who's on it, who's injured, who's playing, who's missing time, whatever. He's been the
yeah,
consistent guy. And obviously leading the Knicks to the third seed in the Eastern Conference. That is in the running. Cleveland has obviously turned their season around. I think I had Donovan Mitchell on my third team. This last
yes.
spot I could have flip flopped. Obviously, statistic wise, number
KD,
wise,
right?
KD,
Yeah,
a lot of those players. But Donovan Mitchell having more points, kind of in the running for the top three seeds in the Eastern Conference. I put Jalen Brunson in this spot just because the team success, the play from Jalen Brunson has been consistent all year. Prior to the James Harden trade, we were talking about the Cavs, like what's going on with them, or you know what I mean. So
essentially the
essentially, now
injuries and yeah,
injuries, players,
yeah.
and not being able. Donovan Mitchell was the consistent, but that's kind of why I had him on third, and I had Brunson in my first spot for the second team, just because of how
I
consistent
like
he's been.
that.
His numbers are pretty similar year in and year out, and I think we have to reward those type of players that team success statistically, top 10 in scoring, top 15 in assists, pretty
Yes.
efficient for the most part for being an undersized guard. And just being, the clutch moments, I think that's a huge factor for me as well. Just he's
Yeah.
the captain, bro, and I think the success of the
Yep.
Knicks relies so heavily on the success of Jalen Brunson, every game. So Jalen Brunson is my first spot on the second team All NBA.
There you guys go, man. I think he's top 12 in clutch scoring as well. He's been a consistent heartbeat for the Knicks for what, going on three
Three,
seasons. I
yeah.
cannot believe they fell on this gem.
Mm-hmm.
Willis Reed said that he's a New York Knick legend already. So
hundred
kind of goes
percent.
to show you, yeah, it just kind of goes to show you what he's done in NY. But next up on my list, man, this is the number 9 guy. We got Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey's been a blur all year. Maxey is leading the NBA in minutes per game, CJ, playing over
Mm-hmm.
38 minutes a night when he's healthy. Tyrese is also averaging a career high in points per game, 29, assists per game was 7, rebounds per game, 4.7, three-pointers made, 3.3, free throw percentage, 89.3, and steals per game with 2. Needless to say, he can win another most improved player award with those stats. However, Maxey has played in just 61 games and is currently dealing with a pinky injury that could keep him out of All NBA entirely. CJ and I made this list, thinking about who deserves it in our opinion, regardless of injuries. So that's how we came up with the teams that we're creating, just so
Mm-hmm.
you guys know. But Tyrese Maxey, bro, man,
Incredible.
he's been incredible. Like kind of similar to Brunson, he's actually been the consistent heartbeat of the Sixers.
Hundred
Now that
percent.
Embiid is, in and out of the lineup, and whenever he's there, we know what he can give. But
Mm-hmm.
Tyrese Maxey and VJ have been really that 1-2 punch all season for them. I
Mm-hmm.
think for me, it's the growth in every area of his game, right? I just listed off 7 different statistics that he's already growing in year after year. He's already
Mm-hmm.
won a most improved player award, but he's showing that, he's coming into being the franchise player. I don't know if the Sixers wanted it this way, they probably would still prefer Embiid to be their main guy. But the fact that Maxey is ready to take over the keys and he's taking over the franchise now, I think it just goes to show you he's deserving of making an All NBA team. And for me, bro, it's just the efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
Almost on the 50, 40, 90 as well. He's just been brilliant. I love Tyrese Maxey, the fastest player in our league. And yeah, bro, he's one of the top guys in the East, no
Hundred
doubt.
percent. Yeah, I have Tyrese Maxey on my list as well. He makes this team regardless, like of the games requirement. I know we had that conversation last time, but ZD and I agreed that we're getting guys regardless of that who deserve to be on this list, and he deserves to be on this list just based off of everything ZD said and just off of the success of the Sixers as well. Like you were
True.
saying, he is the heartbeat of this team. You know, obviously we've seen him be out these last, week and a half, 2 weeks going on it. And we've seen what that has been for the 76ers. You know,
It looked
obviously
bad.
VJ has been doing his thing, but Maxey is why they are even in the those clutch moments, because he's able to, easily drop 30 on your head and at an efficient
Yeah.
at an efficient rate as well. I think that's the underrated thing about him. He is like a volume shooter, but he shoots it at a pretty efficient level. So based off of that,
Yeah,
based off of the success of the Sixers, being so reliant on Tyrese Maxey, he's got to be on our list, bro. Just off of that, and it sucks. We just talked about that 65 game limit. This is one of those where literally 4 games, if he doesn't end up playing, this upcoming week or the last week of the season, it's gonna be a disservice to the fans and to Tyrese Maxey if he's not able to play these 4 games. But heading into the next one, man, our next spot on the second team All NBA, we got Anthony Edwards, man. And Anthony Edwards, Ant-Man. He has been worth the price of admission and an MVP candidate at times during the season. Ant-Man is averaging a career high in points per game, 29.5, field goal percentage, 48%, and 3-point percentage, 40%. Getting close to that 40, 50, 90 efficiency.
Yeah.
Right? Edwards has been the T-Wolves' most consistent scorer on a night-in, night-out basis, and Ant-Man ranks second to only Luka Doncic in 40-point games with 10. Doncic has 13 40-point games. Edwards has played 58 games this season, but is currently injured. And similar to a lot of players, he will be forced to rush back to get All-NBA honors. Another situation, man. I feel like this is the team that probably is going to be most affected. So in return, a lot of probably players that we had on third could potentially be on second, depending on where these guys end up going.
Right.
But without all that being said, Ant-Man balling out. I feel like we've had these type of conversations, him being, in the running for the Clutch Player of the Year award as well.
Yes, sir.
Just the moments, like I brought it up when we had that conversation. It just always seems like regardless of the score, regardless of circumstances in the game, whenever Ant is on the floor and, he has the ball and they're getting stops, he's hitting threes, like you can't ever count them out, just like we're saying, the efficiency he's gotten. Year in and year out, he's gotten better. I feel like that's the thing that is getting overlooked with Ant, just because we kind of expect him to do this at this point. But, obviously passing, playmaking is always something he can kind of work on. But besides that, scoring, he could give it to you on the defense side of the ball as well. And he's been the reason.
That was the thing. The defense, bro. That's what makes him deadly. I was gonna say him and Maxey. Obviously, we're about to get into somebody who's one of the best defenders of all time, in my opinion. But Anthony Edwards, bro, like you're saying, clutch player of the year. For me, it's the jump shot, right? 40% from 3, guys. Come on, bro. Top 8 in the NBA, especially on the volume. I think Luke Kennard is shooting 47% on 4 attempts. Ant shoots 8.
Yeah.
So, that puts things into perspective. I think Julius Randle has given him another pathway to be great as well. There's another consistent scorer who gives Ant even more room to operate. And he's probably the most dangerous downhill guy on any list you can make. Out of all 15 players, Anthony Edwards is consistently known for punching on you. We haven't seen it much recently, but it'll come. We know a body's on its way. But this next guy, man, I think I got him at number 7. You probably do as well. But it's Kawhi Leonard. Leonard's been all nails this year. And if it wasn't for the Clippers' poor start, he would have probably easily made first team All-NBA, bro. Leonard is averaging a career high in points per game, which is, I want to bring that up. The fine wine, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, Steph Curry, LeBron James. Are you kidding me? A career high in points per game at this stage in your career, Kawhi? Man,
it's incredible.
That's insane. Incredible. It's insane. 28.3 points a night on almost 50, 40, 90 splits. He's only shooting 38% from 3. Oh my God, shoot me, 38%. The only thing that's been murky about Kawhi is his durability question marks, which that's always been the case, as he's only played in 56 games so far. So he's got to finish strong to be eligible for this award and this incentive. Kawhi Leonard, bro. I mean, from the darkness arises great things. We know Kawhi's been through a lot. Obviously, the Clippers are dealing with the aspiration stuff we haven't talked about in months. They're dealing with all of the things surrounding Steve Ballmer and what he's going to do with the team in the future. Obviously, they owe those picks to the Thunder as well. And Kawhi, similar to the rest of these guys on this list, has just been consistent throughout the entire season. For me, seeing him in the All-Star game was just a renaissance, bro. It kind of put a bow on the season for him. We knew he was great, but I think to see him perform at this level post-injury, at his age, right? Just seeing him age this way, and we know he's a playoff riser as well. I think you got to give him credit because he's led the Clippers back to being 500. They were 13 games, 14 games under 500, and I think that speaks to Kawhi Leonard's play. And now that they have DG in the fold, they got, obviously Beal will come back, but guys like Niederhauser, and I know they traded Zubac, but they have Mathurin. They got some pieces that are going to be able to help Kawhi. But he's just been the main dude this entire year. So shout out Kawhi Leonard, man. You're very deserving, and you've been fairly durable. I'd say 56 games. Like that's I'll take that. If you can give me that for the rest of the way out, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, I was about to say for his, obviously last season played 37 games, and then prior to that 68. This is in the last 5 years probably the second most games he's played. So up to this point, he's been pretty durable for Kawhi standards. It's the scoring, bro. That's really what it has been for me. Like the fact that he's averaging his career high 15 years into his career kind of goes to show the efficiency of his game and what he's been able to be for the Clippers all season after trading James Harden, getting rid of PG a couple years ago. He's been that guy for them, and at the level, like you said, if the Clippers didn't start off to such a slow start this season, he could be in the running for first team All-NBA. That's how great he's been.
Yeah.
Defensively, what he's going to provide. But yeah, it's just been his scoring for me because defensively, we know the type of player, DPOY type of player for, all NBA defensive team, probably in the question pretty much every
best defender
year.
On the list.
You know what I'm saying? So just saying that being said, just their slow start, they've been able to get to 500 team. I think it's enough said, bro. I think obviously the games requirement is the question for a lot of these guys that we brought up, but that being said, I think he deserves to be in this list as well. So this is where my list is a little different from ZD's. Up to this point, we've had pretty similar lists. For my sixth spot,
good thing. It's a good thing. Change is good.
Change is good. For me, on my sixth spot, final spot on my second team All NBA, another player that is in the conversation for the 65 game limits, but he rightfully deserves to be on this list in my eyes. I got Cade Cunningham, bro. Playing 61 games he's at right now. He needs to play 4 games. He has this collapsed lung that is probably gonna give him out till probably the end of the season. So having him rush back into this might be a question that the Pistons are gonna have to get to. But I think he deserves this spot. He's been dominating all season. Has led the Pistons to the first team in the Eastern Conference. We always talk about it. 2 years ago, they were not where they're at now. Worst team in the NBA. Cade was saying, I know we're not this bad. I know we're not a bad team. And we're seeing that now. Obviously had a fantastic year last year. I think he ended up making second team. Was it second team last year?
Yeah.
Second team last year. Think he rightfully deserves to be in that same situation now. Better team than they had last year as well. But Cade has been the consistent guy. Pick and roll offense with Jalen Duren has, awoken something in him that is made him to All-Star, first time All-Star this year. That has a lot to do with Cade and just everybody on the team as well. Besides Cade, that is the question that we've had for the Pistons. Who is going to be someone else to step up in his absence? And I think we're kind of seeing what that looks like. Obviously, like you said earlier, they were able to beat y'all the other night, but besides that, it's been pretty hard thing that they've been having to deal with because Cade is such an offensive hub. He is able to get people open shots and get to the rim pretty easily, make the game easier for Jalen Duren. I think he deserves to be on the second team All-NBA, man, for sure. And, like I said, 65 game limit, something that we're having to talk about with a lot of these players. regardless of that, man, I think he deserves to be in this conversation.
Man, yeah, he's been absolutely exactly what Detroit needs, bro. And the fact that when he got drafted, I remember he said, Detroit, I'm coming.
Yeah, Motor City Cade.
Yeah, Motor City Cade, he's here for him, bro. And I think I'll save my Cade Cunningham talks for next episode because he's,
Yeah.
But the number 6 guy on my list, man, is JB, Jaylen Brown. JB might make first team All NBA for his performance this season, and that's saying something given the top 5 players that are currently above him. Regardless, Brown has had an MVP caliber season, CJ, and he's having the best year of his career in points per game with 28.5, rebounds per game with 7, and assists per game with 5.1. Tatum has also been hurt for most of the season, putting added pressure on JB to perform. And he's answered the bell, bro, leading the Celtics to a 47-24 record. That's good for second in the East. Brown could easily sneak into the first team depending on how the injuries shake up for the players. Man, Jaylen Brown has performed he could make his case for first team All NBA coming down at the end of the season. But he's been brilliant, bro. Without Tatum for the majority of the season, he's been able to be the consistent scorer for them. He's scoring in clutch time. I think he's top 5 in mid-range scoring right now too. So his mid-range jumper is really working. He's really found something. He's increased his handle. He's got his turnovers down because that was a big thing for him. I'm not even a Celtics fan, but I am extremely, extremely just in awe of his growth, bro, as a player. And I think it's good that Tatum was hurt because I think it gave Brown a little bit more of that wiggle room to really showcase his ability, and it's only going to help him in the playoffs. He's done okay from 3. I think that's the one flaw in his game. If he was a 40% knockdown 3-point shooter, he would be first team. He would probably make first team, honestly. But for what he's been able to do for the Celtics, the fact that they've still been winning without Tatum, he's averaging a career high in points, career high in rebounds. For me, it's the assists, just facilitating, getting other guys involved. Yeah, JB deserves this, man. I think, he'll probably be on your, but we will see.
Yeah. I'll save that for next episode for sure.
There you go. But he's been great, bro. He's been amazing.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. Like you said, just incredible. We didn't expect the Celtics to be in the position they're in the absence of Tatum. So the fact that he was able to carry this team, career highs in pretty much every statistics, offensive statistics, and just seeing the growth from everyone else. Obviously the success of the team relies a lot on JB, but it's also him being able to get the open shots, play make, like you said, the assists and the points. You know what I mean? So yeah, I agree. I'll save my JB talk for next time. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, there you go. Let's get into these games, man. We got a lot. We got a 12-game slate. Let's go through it for the audience. Let's get them to our team analysis, man. But I'll take it away. Obviously, my team played early. Might even be final by now because I think it's 8 p.m. Central. But first game of the night, this game was at 6 p.m. Lakers versus Pacers. Pacers are at the Fieldhouse, so they're at home. But the Lakers have listed Nick Smith Jr., Marcus Smart, Maxi Kleber, and Rui Hachimura as a game time decision. I'll have to see who ended up going. Hopefully all those guys went. But the Pacers are missing Zubac, Toppin, Nembhard, Nesmith, and Siakam. So it's going to be interesting. We'll see. I think no, wait. Those guys were listed as a game time decision. I don't know if they're missing. I think they might have gone. I'll have to see. Maybe you can check while I'm talking, but I don't think they missed because Siakam is in. I'm pretty sure I saw him before we hopped on because I know they were playing at 6. I'm not sure about Nembhard and I'm not sure about Toppin. I know Zubac missed. Yeah. But we'll have to see about those 3 dudes, Nesmith, Nembhard, and Toppin. But anyway, storyline for this matchup. They all went?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, then the Pacers are in there then. Only Zubac missing. Yeah, this is the second matchup between the Lakers and the Pacers. The Lakers defeated the Pacers 128-117 on March 6th. In their last game, LA lost to the Pistons 113-110. And the Pacers beat the Magic 128-126. CJ, we talked about that, bro. We were talking about the Magic. We checked the score. We saw the Pacers beat them, and we were like, forget it, man. Right. The fact that the Pacers are, bottom third in net rating over their last 10 games, or like 2-8 over their last 10. They have not been playing good. Over the last 15 games, the Pacers are 1-14 and the Lakers are 12-3. So you guys know who I'm rocking with. Going to make it short and sweet. We got 11 other games to get into, but Lakers, man, we did take a loss to the Pistons. I'll get into that a little bit later before we get into the March Madness stuff. But yeah, man, I got to rock with my team, Luka Doncic. I bet him for a 40 ball tonight. I feel like he's on his way to do that. The Pacers defense is just horrible. Hopefully we can win this game in 3 quarters, man.
Yep. Yeah, I'm rocking with the Lakers as well, bro. Besides that Pacers dub against the Magic the other night, they have not been good. So that was the one, like you said, 1-14 over the last 15. So I think that says enough. But head into the next game, man. We have the Hawks versus Pistons. This was a 6 p.m. tip-off as well. The Hawks have listed Jalen Johnson as a game-time decision, and the Pistons are missing Cade Cunningham and Isaiah Stewart. Moore Jr. and Marcus Sasser is listed as a game-time decision as well. Some storylines for this game. This is the 4th matchup of the season between the Pistons and the Hawks. The Pistons lead the series 3-0 over their last 10 games. The Hawks are 9-1 and ranked first in the NBA in net rating with a plus 12.6. The Pistons are 7-3 over that same span and ranked 6th in the NBA in net rating with a plus 10.7. Man, I think this is going to be a good game. I feel like, obviously
sleeper one. Yeah,
this is one of those sleeper games, man. I feel like obviously the absence of Cade is going to make a huge difference, but we've seen that they've been able to, kind of stick in games, and I think that's kind of the Pistons, identity. Playing defense, right. Playing, physical, keeping the game close enough, and then, relying on people, role players to hit big shots, obviously, but I don't know. I'm kind of leaning Hawks just based off of their last 10, number 1 in net rating. Jalen Johnson, if he didn't go, obviously this would make a difference, but I think him in there, Nah in there, I think Nah would probably have a pretty good game, taking that assignment of being, the main initiator and whatnot, but I'm rocking with Pistons. My fault. Hawks. Sorry.
Hawks. I'm actually going with the Pistons. I feel like they got a little momentum. Dennis Jenkins. I saw Duncan Robinson hit a bunch of tray balls. And Jalen Duren's I think he's gonna give the Hawks fits inside. Yeah. I don't know if Okonwu will be able to stick with him. So I'm gonna rock with the Pistons, man. But moving on to our next game, man. It's another 6 p.m. game. Bulls versus 76ers. The Bulls are missing Zach Collins, and the Sixers have listed Embiid and Grimes as game time decisions. Oubre Jr. and Maxey are listed as out, unfortunately. But this is the 3rd matchup of the season between these two teams. The Bulls lead the season series 2-0. Over their last 5 games, the Sixers ranked 27th in the NBA net rating. Like you were talking about earlier, no Tyrese Maxey. Offensive rating has completely fallen off a cliff. They ranked 27th over the last 5. They're only scoring 109 points per 100 possessions. The Bulls rank 15th in the NBA in defensive rating, allowing 115 points per 100 possessions. Over this span, Chicago's 2-3, and Philly is 3-2. That being said, I still got to go with Philadelphia here. I feel like Chicago is going to play with some pace, but at VJ, the 35 points versus the Thunder without any free throws, he's had an extremely, extremely great season. So shout out to him. And I feel like the Sixers, if they have Embiid go, I think anything's possible. I don't know if Chicago has anybody that can guard Embiid, even unhealthy, not 100%, right? So I'm going to rock with the Sixers, even though they've been pretty over the last 5 games, but give me them at home. I feel like they'll be able to clean it up.
Yeah, I'm rocking with the Sixers as well. Bulls have been very hit or miss. I feel like their offense relies so heavily on like the pace and what Josh Giddey can do, create for every all the other players. Sixers, and they don't, they're not trying to win. They're not trying to win. Sixers, VJ's been playing incredible, like you said, 35 against the Thunder. I just been seeing a lot of juice from him in the absence of Tyrese Maxey, so I'm rocking with them, especially if Embiid goes. Not a lot of people have a lot of players that can defend him. So if he goes, this might end up being a blowout, honestly. But heading into my game of the night, ladies and gentlemen, we have the Thunder versus Celtics. It was a 6:30 tip-off. The Thunder have listed Thomas Sorber is out, and the Celtics have listed Vucevic out. So pretty healthy roster for the most part. Vucevic has been out for a couple weeks, and Sorber has been out, obviously, for the whole season. So this is going to be a good one, ladies and gentlemen. Some storylines of this game. Over their last 15 games, the Thunder have a 14-1 record, which ranks first in win-loss record over that span. Thunder are on a 12-game winning streak. The Celtics over their last 15 games are 10-5, which ranks 7th in the NBA over that time frame. Over the last 10 games, the Celtics rank 14th in the NBA in net rating with a plus 2.6, and the Thunder rank 5th over that time with a plus 11.1. I tell y'all this all the time. I'm rocking with my team regardless of the situation, but I think this is going to be a really good game, honestly. Pretty healthy roster for both sides. Boston is home. You know, the TD Garden is always popping. You know how it is in there, Z. I know as a Laker, you understand this, but
hate the TD Garden.
J-Dub being back. You know, Jalen Williams, Jay Will has been performing at a great level. Shea, MVP front runner as of now. I think he's going to make a statement. The last time we played against them, Chet ended up making those game-winning free throws for us. I think it's going to be another sticky game, going to go down to the wire. I think it's going to be one of those Shea moments where he hits a game winner. So hopefully my prediction's right. I know I'm looking at the scores. It's close, so we'll see by the time we end up leaving with this score.
Yeah, there you go, guys. Yeah, there you guys go, man. Obviously, you got to go with the Thunder. It would be a shame if you went with anything else, right?
Exactly.
But next game on the slate, this one was at 6:30. We got the Heat versus the Cavs. Cavs were at home for this matchup. Heat on the road, but the Heat are missing Terry Rozier gambling. The Cavs have listed Jalen Tyson, Nance Jr., and Jared Allen as a game time decision. Jared Allen finally showing up as a GTD. You might be able to return for this game. But storylines, man, this is the third matchup of the season between the Cavs and the Heat, CJ, with the season series tied 1-1. Over the last 3 games, the Cavs are 3-0, but rank 13th in the NBA net rating over that span with a plus 5.5. The Heat over their last 3 games are 0-3 and ranked 25th in the NBA net rating with a minus 11.1. The Heat have beat the Cavs once by 2, and the Cavs have beat the Heat once by 14. I'm going with the Cavs, man. The new look Cavs, James Harden, Donovan Mitchell. We've spoken very highly about them post that trade. Obviously, we've been pretty quiet, but Keon Ellis is having a hell of a season too. He's been quietly flying under the radar there, but he's been brilliant as well. Yep. I got to go with the Cavs, man. I think this total's high. It's at 240 again. The Heat have been number 1 in pace all season. That's going to force the other team just to play to their style, which bodes well for the Cavs because they love offense. I think James Harden's going to have a hell of a game. He's going to be able to initiate, get downhill, throw some lobs to Evan Mobley. And if Jared Allen's there, the Heat just don't. Bam can't guard 2 people.
Yeah, so I'm rocking with the Cavs as well, bro. I feel like the dynamic duo of James Harden and Donovan Mitchell is exciting to watch, and I feel like that was something Donovan Mitchell was missing, being able to have someone whenever he's not on the court, even when he's on the court, having someone that can initiate the offense that isn't him and is able to get everyone else involved. I think it's going to be pretty tough for the Heat to, handle that situation. Obviously, they're going to be fast. They're going to be up and down. So if they're hitting their 3-pointers, it might be a pretty close game, but it's one of those games for me where if they're not, able to knock down their shots, the Cavs, this could potentially be, a blowout for them, especially if Jared Allen is in the mix. So rocking with the Cavs as well. But for this next matchup, though, we have the Spurs versus Grizzlies. It was a 7 p.m. tip-off. Grizzlies are home. The Spurs are missing Luke Cornett and De'Aaron Fox. The Grizzlies have listed Jalen Wells, Ja Morant, and Brandon Clark as out. Some storylines for this game. This is the 4th matchup of the season between the Grizzlies and the Spurs. The Spurs lead the season series 2-1 with an average win margin of 8.5. The Grizzlies did beat the Spurs on January 6th, 106-105. Over the last 15 games, the Spurs are 13-2, which ranks 2nd in the NBA, and the Grizzlies are 3-12, which ranks 25th. I think this is a pretty no-brainer. Obviously, rocking with the Spurs. You won't hear me say that a lot unless we're talking about win predictions, but rocking with the Spurs, bro. They've just been dominant. Obviously, we talked about the Wemby MVP case, right? He's going to probably dominate them. Zach Edey's in. I don't know if he's going to be enough to handle
he is in.
Wemby.
Good point.
But I think it's just going to be too much for them. Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle. I just don't think they have a lot. Obviously, Ja Morant being out is something that I feel like we've been seeing his name on these injury reports a lot, but where's Ja Morant? You know what I mean? Like, what's he been doing? But
he got ruled out for the season. I was going to bring that up. Yeah. And that's okay. I don't think the Grizzlies are trying to win. Obviously, they have, we'll get into their offseason files whenever it's their time, but they have all those picks, bro. They're okay.
Yeah, they're chilling.
They're chilling.
Yeah.
Moving on though, obviously the Spurs they want the win. Okay, so the Grizzlies want to lose, Spurs want to win. They need the win to move up in the West. So Spurs are gonna win that game. Mm-hmm. Wizards versus Jazz is the next one. This one's at 8 p.m. Jazz are at home. But the Wizards are missing Trey Johnson, Trey Young, and Alex Sarr, which is essentially their 3 core guys. Koulibaly and Vukovic are listed as game time decisions. The Jazz are missing Triple J, Nurkic, Markkanen, Sensabaugh, and Isaiah Collier. Storylines for this game, though, this is the second matchup of the season between the Jazz and the Wizards. In their first game, the Jazz defeated the Wizards 122-112. Over their last 10 games, the Wizards are 0-10 and the Utah Jazz are 3-7. Over that same time frame, the Wizards ranked 30th in the NBA net rating with a minus 15.1, and the Jazz ranked 22nd with a minus 5.9. Man, I got to rock with the Jazz. I will say if Keontae George is there and their Wizards 3 core guys are out, I'm going to take Keontae George. I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up dropping 30 tonight. We'll have to see, but I just can't trust the Wizards. 0-10 over their last 10. They're ranking 30th in net rating with a minus 15.1. Washington, I know you guys want to lose, man, but we just want to see y'all do good. Hopefully next season with the pick, with AD in the flesh, things will change. Same with the Jazz, honestly. The Jazz are going to have a good roster next year too. So, off-season files for both of those teams are going to be interesting. But yeah, I gotta rock with the Jazz, bro.
Yeah, rocking with the Jazz as well. Shout out Ace Bailey, been balling out these past couple games. I know you're excited about that dynasty pick.
Dude, Flag, Edgecombe, and Bailey are like
balling.
Yeah, those are all 5-star assets, really.
Yes, sir. Going into the next game, we have the Rockets versus Timberwolves. It is the 8:30 tip-off. The Timberwolves are home. The Rockets are missing Fred VanVleet and Steven Adams. The T-Wolves are missing Anthony Edwards, and Ayo Dosunmu is listed as a game-time decision. Over the last 10 games, the Timberwolves rank 17th in the NBA in net rating with a minus 0.4, and they have a 5-5 record. So essentially, pretty even team at this point of the year. The Rockets over that same span rank 19th in the NBA in net rating with a minus 3.3, and they also have a 5-5 record. This is the second matchup of the season between the T-Wolves and the Rockets. Houston leads the season series 1-0 with a 110-105 win on January 16th. This is, I think this might be a low-key a pretty good game as well. Pretty evenly matched teams. Obviously, Ant is out, so that's going to play a factor because I feel like he always balls out when he goes against KD. Julius Randle has been
quiet.
Where have you been? Especially for my dynasty team, but just in general, they feel like he's kind of, having a little bit of fall off as of late, but Ayo Dosunmu has been playing great. Bones Highland has been playing really well too. Rudy Gobert is always in the conversation, right, for his defensibility. I think this is going to be a good one. Obviously, I think KD is going to cause a lot of problems. Men is going to get in the passing lanes, play defense on honestly probably like Randall or DiVincenzo type of player, but I think he's going to be really good.
They'll switch everything.
No, they're going to switch. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is kind of like a toss-up for me. I think I'm rocking with the T-Wolves tonight.
Yeah, me too. I was going to say the Rockets they're not in danger of being a fraud playoff team, but they're in danger of being a fraud playoff team.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree.
Right? I don't know. I saw, Şengün's poster the other night. Nasty. He probably could make third team, right? If you guys wanted to discourse us there in the comments. I'm going to go with the T-Wolves, though. I feel like Randall's going to have a good game.
Yeah.
For some reason, the Rockets haven't shown me their defensive prowess the last month of the season, and their switch everything kind of thing or scheme. Yeah, thank you. Their switch everything scheme has not been working the best for them. So we'll have to see. But moving on, man, this game is at 9 p.m. We got the Mavericks versus Nuggets. The Nuggies are at home. The Mavs are missing Martin, Irving, and Lively. Brandon Williams and Gafford are listed as game time decisions. And the Nuggets are missing Peyton Watson because it's a back-to-back. But this is the fourth matchup of the season between the Nuggets and the Mavs. The Nuggets lead the season series 2-1, but only have an average win margin of 5 in those games. Over the last 5, The Mavs are 1-4 and ranked 21st in the NBA net rating with a -5.8. And over that same time frame, the Nuggets are 4-1 and ranked 8th in the NBA net rating with a plus 8.9. This is another seesaw matchup, like one team going down, one team trending up. Got to go with the Nuggets, even though they've been quiet over the last month. I feel like Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, whenever they're in for the Nuggies, it's just going to be tough. And the Mavs just really have no firepower outside of Cooper Flag, who may not even win Rookie of the Year. You know, we continuously bring it up, but I think these last couple games of the season are really big for him because this is where he can make his mark. But I think this game is pretty simple. It's the matchup on paper does not favor the Mavericks, and they don't want to win. You know, they're trying to get that pick, and we're about to speak about, you know, the tournament here in a second. So, yeah, I'm rocking with the Nuggies.
Yeah, rocking with the Nuggets as well. No, I don't think anyone really has a solution for Nikola Jokic, and I think it's going to be. I mean, he got like a triple double in like damn near the first quarter last night, so he's been incredible. I think it's going to be too much for the Mavs to be able to keep up with. Cooper Flag is back in the lineup, and you know, like you said, he is in the running for the Rookie of the Year. I think he is going to have a good game, but it's not going to be enough for them to get this dub. So I'm right there with you, brother. Going into the next matchup is a 9 p.m. tip off. It's the Nets versus Warriors. The Nets are missing Michael Porter Jr., Igor Denham, Nolan Traore, Danny Wolf, and Clowney. Forgot his first name. Sorry. The Warriors are missing Noah Clowney. There you go. Sorry. The Warriors are missing Seth Curry and Steph Curry. Moses Moody, who just had a crazy injury. You know, prayers out to him. Hopefully he's all good. Speedy recovery, because that was insane. That was wild. You know, you never.
I'm sorry,
see that.
brother.
Yeah, that's tough. Al Horford and Quentin Post. Some storylines of this matchup. This is the second matchup between the Nets and the Warriors. In their first game, the Warriors beat the Nets 120-107 on December 29th. Over their last 10 games, the Warriors ranked 23rd in the NBA in overall net rating with a -6.4, and the Nets ranked 28th in the NBA in overall net rating with a -13.1. Over that time, the Warriors and Nets are both 2-8. Rocking with the Warriors in this one. They're severely undermanned, but I think severely. I don't know the way that the Nets have been playing. You know, terrible.
They don't want to win.
They don't want to win. Warriors obviously not having a lot of their players, but Pods might ball out. I don't know. They don't have much. I'm just rocking with the whole team in this one, and the Nets have not been good. I don't have really much to say. They're both pretty bad. It's an ugly matchup, but wait, we could be surprised. It could be a good game by the end of the night.
Yeah, it could be a banger. Yeah, I think you know, I'm rocking with the Warriors too. I think Pods will be able to put it together. Obviously, they got a Spencer brother who can do some damage. We'll see, man. We'll see. Next game though, this one's at 9 p.m. as well. We got the Bucks versus Blazers. Blazers are at home for this matchup. Bucks on the road. The Bucks are missing Giannis, Gary Harris, and Kevin Porter Jr. Kyle Kuzma and Bobby Portis are listed as game time decisions, and the Blazers are missing Shading Sharp and Damian Lillard, who they've been missing for a while. Jerami Grant, Vidic Krejci, and Robert Williams III are listed as a game time decision. Storylines for this game, though, this is the second matchup between the Bucks and the Blazers. In their first game, the Bucks lost to the Blazers 115-103 on November 24th. Over the last 10 games, the Bucks are 3-7, and the Blazers are 6-4. Over that time, the Blazers ranked 9th in the NBA net rating with a plus 6.3, and the Bucks ranked 27th in the NBA net rating with a -13. I got to go with the Blazers, man. I think they are top 12 in defensive rating over the last month, so they've been guarding extremely well. Denny Avdia is back in the lineup, and Donovan Clingan. You know, you spoke about him last episode, but just Miles Turner has been an absolute disappointment. There was an ESPN article that came out saying that the wave of Damian Lillard and the signing of Miles Turner is the worst offseason move. I don't know if I agree. I think the Pelicans trading their unprotected pick is worse. Nonetheless,
That's true. Yeah,
Nonetheless,
I agree too. That's pretty
that
bad.
might be that might be an interesting little exercise to go through, but
Mhm.
we'll get there whenever we get there. But nonetheless, I got to go with the home team and the Blazers.
Same. Rocking with the Blazers. I got Denny and Klingon on my dynasty team, so I've been rocking with them all season. They've been playing very well. Klingon been dominating in the first half and then ends
Oh,
up
bro,
not sitting in the second half. But
yeah,
like you
just
said,
doesn't
I,
play.
I think
Hmm.
Miles Turner being a pretty disappointing pickup for them. Giannis isn't playing anymore, so it's one of those.
Cam Thomas gone.
Cam Thomas got waived. Yeah, they just don't have that much. Obviously, Ryan Rollins, and if KBJ ends up going, those are like their bright spots that have been for them pretty much the whole season. But I don't think it's going to be enough for the Blazers. Defensively, they've been playing really well, and offensively, what Klingon's been able to provide for them, I think it's just opening up the game for everyone else. So rocking with the Blazers as well, and to round
For
it off,
sure.
man, this 12-game NBA slate that we had tonight. We had a 9:30 tip off between the Raptors and Clippers. The Clippers are home. The Raptors have listed Jakob Poeltl, Emmanuel Quickly, and Brandon Ingram as a game time decision, and the Clippers listed Niederhauser and Bradley Beal is out, and Kawhi is listed as a game time decision tonight. Some storylines for this game. This is the second matchup of the season between the Raptors and T-Wolves. In their first game, the Clippers beat the Raptors in an overtime win, 121-117. Over their last 5 games, the Raptors ranked 17th in defensive rating, allowing 115.8 points per 100, and the Clippers ranked 10th in the NBA in offensive rating, scoring 119.2 points per 100 possessions. I think I'm rocking with the Clippers, bro. If Kawhi ends up going,
Me
I,
too.
I like
Me
what
too.
Darius Garland has been able to
Oh,
be for
bro, he's
them.
been
Like you
awesome.
said, he's been a great pickup for them at the time. Just seeing what that trade happened and what he's been able. I think we talked about it last time, dropping 41. A couple games ago, incredible. I think it's gonna be a lot for them to keep up with, especially if Emmanuel Quickly, Ingram are also game time decisions. It's gonna be, that's a lot of their offense that they're gonna have to rely heavily on, RJ Barrett and Scotty Barnes to provide. And I think
Right.
that's gonna be a lot of pretty tough for them to be able to do, especially with the Clippers, being so efficient on the offense whenever Kawhi and Darius Garland have been able to play. So rocking with the Clippers tonight. I know you're not a Clippers fan, but I
Not
know
at
you
all.
respect. Yep.
I would probably take the Raptors if they could score.
Mhm.
Like sometimes they just can't score, and I think the Clippers just have more at their arsenal, right? Benedict Matherin's in again. We haven't
Mhm.
spoken about him, but he's been one of the best. I think he's having a career year in terms of scoring,
Yeah.
right? Efficiency wise and points wise. So yeah, give me the Clippers. They've just had a better month uh, over the last month or so. So yeah, I think both of these teams are. The Clippers are going to have to win probably one or two playing games, but the Raptors are a solidified playoff team. So that's a good matchup to end the night.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think 2 days ago, the Lakers had their hot streak snapped in a tight back and forth loss to the Pistons, brother, falling 113-110. They struggled early. I think they trailed by as many as 16. They were just inconsistent. We had some defensive lapses that simply put us behind. But despite that, the Lakers were out late. We hit our shots, bro. Eventually, we tied the game. I think in the fourth quarter at 91 with 9 minutes to go. We got a lot of strong production from a bunch of different players. I think Doncic ended up having 32. Reeves had 24. LeBron almost had a triple double. I think he was 12, 9, and 10. But it wasn't enough. I think in the final minute two is crazy. Bunch of free throws. Momentum was swinging wildly. I think we had 2 or 3 lead changes. Bunch of clutch jumpers made on both sides. But Dennis Jenkins hit a mid-range jumper, I think, with like 12 seconds left. I think it put Detroit up 113-110. Detroit really capitalized on their 3-point shooting. CJ, they went 11 of 26 from deep, which is 42% from three. We shot sub 35%. So they definitely, if you win the 3-point battle in today's day and age, I think you're going to most likely win the game. They also scored 17 points off of our 11 turnovers. The game also ended, bro, with Luka Doncic missing that 3 ball. And I'm glad that he's taking these shots. Earlier in the season, people were saying, "Oh, Luka doesn't want to shoot a game winner." That's been put to bed. The last week or two, he's been attempting shots in the clutch, which is good. We fall to 46-26 on the year. We're still third in the West. Over our last 5, we still rank 13th in the NBA net rating with a plus 3.8. I did want to bring this up. Tired legs hit us in this game. We have no business losing to the Pistons without Cade. I think Jalen Duren had a hell of a game. Also, Dennis Jenkins, just the unsung hero. Him and Duncan Robinson really stepped up big in this game. And, it happens to the best of us. I think we're going to get this win against the Pacers, so we should follow it up, and we're fine. I really don't have any gripes about taking a loss this deep into the season. I think they just had a better performance, especially in the fourth quarter. Their guys were more ready, and again, we just weren't prepared for Dennis Jenkins. Whatever. I don't know if JJ didn't game plan for the fact that he's been playing his ass off all year, and we're not going to double him, right? So if he gets hot, so be it. And yeah, the other night he got hot. So shout out to the Pistons, man. They handed us our loss, our first loss in a little while. It was 9, almost 10 games, which is the longest win streak of the entire year for the Lakers. But I think we're going to get right back on track versus the Pacers. And yeah, man, just Luka has been performing at an MVP level. I'm going to be making that Luka MVP case down the stretch of the season. I've been seeing on the Lakers IG. But yeah, I think the 3-point shooting for the Pistons is what won them that game. Duncan Robinson hit 3 threes. Dennis Jenkins hit 3. But going 11 of 26, it goes to show you volume isn't always the answer. Sometimes it's efficiency. So they hit 42% of their 3-pointers, which is that's a lot of points. So yeah, unfortunately, we took that close loss to the Pistons the other night.
Yeah, going into Thunder analysis, man, the Thunder rolled again this time with a controlled wire-to-wire win over the Philadelphia 76ers. They won 123-103, shooting efficient 53% from the field and 44% from three, which I feel like has been something I've been complaining about all year. So the fact that we've kind of turned our 3-point shooting around within, since the trade deadline is incredible to see, especially
last
for
month, yeah.
a fan that has been complaining about that all year long. So shout out to the boys. Want to give them props where it's due. With a strong team balance and multiple players contributing, Jalen Williams, it was J-Dub's first game back, so shout out to that. Love to see him back into the roster on both sides of the ball. Jalen Williams, 18 points. Jalen Williams, 18 points as well, and Jared McCain, it was returned back to Philly. He came off the bench getting 13 points as well. Momentum was set early, and OKC led by 10 after the first quarter and 22 by halftime, using hot shooting and pace to take full control. The Thunder never really lost grip, maintaining separation with constant scoring and efficient shot selection throughout. Even when Philly showed brief resistance, OKC responded quickly, preventing any real comeback run. The 76ers were severely undermanned, but still had a standout performance from VJ Edgecombe, 35 points on 50% from the field and 46.7 from three. Though it wasn't enough to shift momentum, with the win, OKC kept its dominance intact, sitting at 57-15, with the best record in the NBA and full control of the West. Yeah, this was a wire-to-wire victory. Obviously, they were able to get such a huge lead, and it got a little bit scary in that third quarter, but
dicey. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? VJ started doing his thing, balling out, which shout out to him, bro. Doing this against the best defensive team in the league.
He's so good.
It goes to show the type of player he is and why you're so high on him whenever we were doing our dynasty draft. But yeah, incredible. VJ Edgecombe. Obviously, if they had Tyrese, if they had Joel, might have been a different story, but they didn't. So we handled business.
Probably not.
Probably not. But yeah, no, it was
yeah,
for me. It was dope seeing Jared McCain, hitting big shots in the team where he just got traded to. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, it's been dope. Shooting 44% from three for a team that was shooting sub 30% at certain times of this year's great to see, especially heading into the last month of regular season, heading into playoffs as well. Great going into the right direction, especially when you're going against these teams that are probably gonna try to force you to shoot threes. So great momentum, great first game back for J-Dub. Think it's gonna be getting him back into the groove of things. I think he needs to. We don't need to rely on him as much, I feel. Especially this whole season. AJ Mitchell, I think, needs to be taking those secondary, primary like facilitating roles and playmaking roles whenever they're in the Shea sitting down or something. I think AJ Mitchell
Hmm.
has earned those
Yeah,
that
they're in their
role
normal rotations.
in this time of the season. So interesting to see what that looks like. I'm kind of hoping they don't force him to do that because I feel like we have seen him come back for an injury, play a couple games, and he is given those duties because of the player that he was last year, all NBA, all defensive team type player. But the season just isn't the same. And I think our bench is so good. We have so much depth to where we don't need to rely on him in that aspect as much as we did last year, just because of the growth and the potential that we've had from every single player on the roster has proven that we just don't need J-Dub to take over in those moments of the game. So hopefully we stick to that, our mantra and what we've been, so high on this season, but we'll see, man. It's going to be interesting. I'm excited to see what, this game ends up
Yeah.
turning out against the Celtics. That's going to be, it looks like it's a banger as of right now, but, yeah, no, got a
Oh, I'm
dub.
gonna watch that.
Got a dub against the Sixers. We're on this little road trip right now, or road trip. So on the Eastern Conference as well. So hopefully we end up getting this dub
Yeah.
tonight. But we're able to beat the
Biggest win streak
76ers,
in the
bro.
league.
Yeah, 12-game win streak. Trying to do our thing, bro.
Yes, sir. Let's go into this March Madness mayhem, man.
Yes,
Take it
sir.
away for the people, brother.
March Madness, balling like March Madness.
No.
Some people say this is like we said earlier, best time of the year. So the Sweet 16 field is composed entirely of major conference teams for the second straight year. The remaining contenders are Arizona, Michigan, Duke, Houston, Illinois, Purdue, Michigan State, St. John's, Iowa State, UConn, Arkansas, Alabama, Nebraska, Tennessee, Iowa, and last but not least, the University of Texas. Arizona, Michigan, and Duke, right, are the three number one seeds still alive. Houston, Iowa State, Purdue, and Michigan State, and also UConn are number 2 seeds. Illinois is a number 3 seed, and Alabama as well is a number 3 seed. They join Arkansas, the number 4 seed in the West, Nebraska, number 4 seed in the South, and Tennessee, number 6 seed in the Midwest, in the middle of the seed line. Iowa, who is the number 9th seed, who ended up beating Florida, upset the national champions, to get here, and Texas is the only double-digit seed still left in the tournament. The Longhorns are seeded 11th in the West and upset number 6 BYU and number 6 number 3 Gonzaga to reach their second Sweet 16 since 08. ESPN notes that Longhorns' emergence isn't a traditional Cinderella story because the Sweet 16 features only major conference teams. Texas is simply the closest thing to underdog in this field.
So, hey, that's an interesting talking point. Let's bring that up because there hasn't been, I think a lot of the programs now with NIL, you can spend your way to freedom. Like these teams that have these expensive rosters, these guys are going to be very good. And usually they come from these high major conferences. I love to see a Holy Cross. We saw FAU a couple seasons ago, which was sick, right? But yeah, that's an interesting, I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people, they see Texas, they'll probably be like, whatever. And makes sense. They're a high major team. It's not like they can't compete with the best teams in the country. And why do we like March? It's one game. I'm sure they're not better than the Gonzaga. They probably could have beat them in a series. I'm sure they're not better than BYU. They probably could have beat them in a series. But Rob Wright disappeared. I think AJ had 35 in that one game. I did watch the BYU game. He looked great, but just nobody else showed up. So I think that's an interesting talking point. Like there's really not a Cinderella story this year.
Yeah, because Cinderella story, right? It's usually the mid-major conference team that is a 9-10 seed that upsets a 2 or 3 whatever seed it is, and get to that point. Obviously, in general, regardless of being a mid-major, being a major conference is still incredible because of your expectations that were set. I mean, obviously, being the only double-digit seed, I think it kind of goes to show the type of team that UT was during the season. But I think they had aspirations of competing, and that is the beauty of March Madness. Like you said, it is one game, And if you get the best of them in that moment, then you're moving on into the next round. So shout out to UT. I actually was talking mess about them because I didn't think they were that good, and they're proving me wrong. So shout out to UT,
Me
bro.
too.
Hook them. You know
Me
what I'm
too.
saying?
I did not have them in this week 16 in
Neither
my
did I.
bracket.
Yeah,
So
I had them losing I had them winning their first round against or no,
yeah, them losing to Gonzaga.
I had them
I
losing
had them
against
beating
Gonzaga.
BYU, but not Gonzaga.
Gotcha. Yeah, I had them. Yeah,
Yeah.
same, exactly. Their run has been powered by Dalen Swain, 12.6 points, 5.3 assists, 6.3 rebounds, and 1.3 steals per game in 3 tournament games, and 7-footer Matas.
I don't know how to say his last name either,
I'm just
brother.
gonna say Matas. Matas, 18.3 points, 11 rebounds per game. Cameron Boozer, Duke's freshman phenom, has been dominant as advertised. He is the most impactful player on a shorthanded Duke squad, tallying 41 points, 66% from inside the arc, and 18 of 19 from the free throw line, 24 rebounds and 7 assists. And the Blue Devils win over Siena and TCU. After being held to 2 points in the first half versus TCU, Boozer erupted for 17 points
Bro,
on
he went off.
7 of 9 shooting in the
Yeah,
second.
he went
He
off.
popped off. Yeah, he it was crazy because that game was super close, and like
It
he ended up.
was.
Yeah,
And okay, so this is the thing about Cam Boozer. A lot of NBA analysts are saying, okay, he doesn't have that mid-range jump shot. His jumper doesn't look good, and obviously TCU, they were able to stop him. Like in that first half, I mean, they weren't doubling or anything. He just did not look like himself. Comes out in the second half and starts balling, bro. Does the little jump hooks, gets the offensive rebounds, dunking on everybody. So yeah, that was lit.
that was a good one. Yeah, he balled out, bro. It was 7 of 9 shooting from the field in the second half, sparking Duke's 43-18 closing run to win comfortably. Duke returns to the Sweet 16 for the 4th time in 5 years, largely because Boozer, described by ESPN as the best player in men's college basketball, controls both ends of the floor. Darius Acuff Jr. has delivered similarly spectacular performance for Arkansas. ESPN notes that John Calipari's freshman point guard combines the explosiveness of Allen Iverson and Derrick Rose. In the round of 32 win over High Point, Acuff scored 36 points and dished out 6 assists, taking over late when the Razorbacks needed key buckets. Calipari's staff calls him the best player remaining in the tournament, and Arkansas will rely on his shot making and playmaking in a Sweet 16 matchup with top seeded Arizona.
Arizona,
bro, that whole South region is insane.
So good, bro.
So
and
good.
Darius, and you know what? Darius Acuff might as well be top 4 in the draft now at this point. There's just really no way around it. Like you said, Calipari's staff has said he's the best player remaining, and his confidence says as well. He's probably the best guard. In my opinion, it's probably Cam Boozer. But yeah, man, Darius Acuff, I feel like, we're not a college basketball podcast. I told CJ, but we got to talk about March Madness. We're not going to leave y'all hanging. And he's been brilliant. I think when we get to the NBA draft, we'll talk about his analysis and go deeper into Cameron Boozer, DeBonsa, and Acuff and Flemings and all these guys. But yeah, March Madness has been awesome. I think I'm at like 70% in my bracket, so I'm not doing too well.
Yeah.
But I just love the competitiveness. And like I said, I love the one game factor. Before we cut out, you'll have to chop it up. But I love the fact that it's just one game. It gives any team a chance, no matter what seed you are. If you have a great game, if you get hot from 3, anything can happen. We've already seen, Michigan State dude, I forgot his name, had the back-to-back games with, 12, 13 assists. We saw the NCAA record get broken for assists as well. So there's been a lot of crazy stuff so far in this tournament. So I'm blessed. I'm blessed that it's March right now, bro. It feels like Christmas.
Yeah. No, yeah. I was telling Z, like, the main talking point I wanted to bring up of March Madness is the momentum shift. I feel like, I was telling Z, like, you see a game on the box score at the top of the screen on whenever you're watching the game. This team going against this team 60-43. You think it's over. Before you know it, it's 3 minutes later, it's only a 5-point game. So I think
Yeah.
momentum is such a huge factor in basketball in general, but I feel it specifically in college just because the environment, the thing that I love about it, it reminds me of playoff basketball, rightfully so, because it's a tournament, but the people that are there are actually passionate about their team because you're not gonna just go to wherever on East region bracket. You're not gonna just go to one of these arenas just because you want to go. Like you're going to support your team. You're gonna cheer if they are getting stops, hitting threes. So I wanted to bring that up just because it brings me back to when I first started getting into basketball and my dad and I bring it up a lot, but we went to the Final Four of the year. It was in Houston, and Carolina ended up going against Villanova, and just the environment, bro. Just the
Yes,
fan,
sir.
the cheering. You see, Villanova fans walking
They're
out
so
and this
lit.
and that.
Yeah.
They're lit. I'm pissed, bro. We just lost
Exciting.
at the buzzer. So just that
Yeah.
whole environment, I feel like March Madness, especially, being college football playoffs is a thing now. It kind of gets overlooked a lot, but you have moments where you can get a Cinderella story, or you could get a team, or you could potentially be a lottery pick, depending on how well you do in the playoffs or in the March Madness tournament. So it's incredible. It gives us as hoop heads, you're able to watch games on a Monday, Tuesday night all day long. It's the beauty of basketball, just being able to watch so many games for extended period of time, and right at the
Yeah.
end of the
Yeah,
NBA
bro.
season, it lines up perfectly
Lines up
for
perfectly.
for
Yeah,
for any
bro.
basketball head. So
And I went to we were talking about it before we hopped on, but my dad, when I was a kid, I was like 7 or 8, but he took us to, a Sweet 16, seeing Shane Larkin in Miami and
mhm.
Kansas with Wiggins, like all this crazy stuff, bro. And I remember this even 10, 11 years ago. So March Madness is a hell of a time. And yeah, bro, what a way to end off the pod. I think this was such a good one, man.
Oh
Just
yeah.
Wemby, March Madness mayhem. Our teams are winning, obviously, second team All NBA. If you guys feel a certain way, you can hit me up in the comments, hit us up on TikTok and all the short form content, man. I can talk to you about it if you
For sure.
hating.
For sure, yeah, yeah, man. Was there anything else you wanted to say to wrap up this podcast, brother?
No, sir. But on Monday, we will update you. We'll see if it's Ari or my brother who's bringing home
Ah,
that championship, and
yep.
we'll get on to the dynasty. We'll have our rookie draft a little bit later in the summer, moving towards the offseason, man. But we still got playoffs, so that's going to be. We'll switch up the show whenever that comes about. Obviously, there won't be as many matchups as we get deeper and deeper. But yeah, bro, I'm feeling good. I'm turned.
Yeah, no, I'm excited, bro. Can't wait. Like you said, first year dynasty slowly wrapping up, so it's dope to see what that's gonna end up looking like. And then even the draft for this upcoming year is gonna be our first draft with a rookie class. So I'm excited, bro. It's gonna be a cool experience for me. Wasn't able to get to that point, but I'll take it, man. At least I'm finishing top 4 at bare minimum, and I think it's a good start for me. And like you
I
said,
was gonna ask you, would you have rather just been like bottom 8 though, or like bottom? Because then now you're
like
like
yeah, like I'm in,
getting
in
like
that
an 8 at 9s
yeah,
pick.
I'm in that spot to where it's like,
Are you
I did.
losing this week? I
I'm gonna
guess.
I haven't even checked, honestly.
Are you just
Like,
gonna tank out though? Because that's what I'll do. I need the pick, bro. Like I don't need to get 5th place.
yeah, like I'm in a weird spot because like usually I would do that, but like it's like one pick. I don't think it's gonna make that much of a difference. I think it's like a pride thing, Like at least I could say I finished top 3. Like it's like
Okay.
when your team, or like when you're in the World Cup, right? You lose and now you're playing for the 3rd place game. That's exactly how I feel right now. Like a pride thing, I guess, but I'm assuming even Bobby might not even try to win. So I guess it kind of just depends. If he's locking in high scores, then I might compete. But if not, I'm just kind of seeing what it ends up. If I win, I win. If not, then it's whatever. Like I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at right now. But
Fair enough, man. I understand. Well, that's it for you. That's it for me.
dessert.
Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. I mean, viewers, we appreciate you guys. If you're new here, thank you for watching. And if you're listening on Spotify, we appreciate you. That's going to do it for the boys over here at 3 Man Weave. We'll catch you guys next time, man. Peace.
Peace.
3 Man, 3
3
Man, 3
man.
Man.